It's my privilege and my pleasure to, in a moment, invite Rabbi Shoshana Cohen to offer the sermon this morning. Rabbi Cohen is a senior fellow at the Hartman Institute, but important to me, she is one of my really dear teachers. When I was at the conservative yeshiva for a year in Jerusalem, she was one of the educators that I got to take a number of classes with over 2 semesters. And one of the reasons why I was so excited that we had the opportunity to bring Rabbi Cohen to Beth Am is because she's like a Beth Am rabbi. She's like, her Torah is our Torah in so many ways, and you'll hear this. She has a deep commitment to social justice, and is thinking about the ways in which rabbis in our tradition are asking us to build more just societies. She is a patient reader, asking her students, and as one of her students who was not always so patient, slowing us down to not just read the first meaning of the text, but to dig deeper and deeper and deeper until we get to the core, the real gem at the inside of Torah. And you'll see the work that she's doing now in being kind of thinking about how Israeli society is responding to this moment after October 7th, and thinking about ways in which diaspora communities and Israeli communities can work together in this moment we know is essential. We know it's the work that we've been doing as a community so patiently and lovingly in lots of different ways. So to have the opportunity to learn from someone who's in Jerusalem, who is doing this at such an important level, is a real gift to us. So it's my pleasure to get to learn with you again after a lot of years and invite up Rabbi Shoshana Cohen for our sermon.
Thank you. It's a lot of nachas to watch you, Tyler. And thank you so much for having me here today. As I told Rabbi Berg, my family, their first stop in the United States was in Baltimore. We figured probably in this area. And there's something extremely powerful to come back to this place and to this neighborhood and to think about the journey that we've been through as a family in the United States. I myself have lived in Israel now for 20 years, but my family originally was from here, Washington, and eventually Los Angeles. And as Tyler said, I spend a lot of time teaching Torah at the conservative yeshiva at the Hartman Institute. And again, thank you very much for having me here. So I want to just locate us. If I located myself right now in this space in Baltimore, coming from Israel, and we'll have a little bit more time in the talk later to think about what that means, holding that space of being someone from the outside and inside in Israeli society. I want to also, just for a moment, recognize a space, a place in time that we are in the Jewish calendar. We're about to have Purim. We're in the month of Adar, which of course famously we have the statement in the Gemara and the Talmud that says, Mishenichnas Adar marbin b'simcha. When Adar comes, we are to increase joy. So I just want to think for a moment how that's hitting for you right now. This idea, this challenge, this call, at this moment in 2026, with everything that's going on in the world, our tradition says to us, now you gotta be joyful and happy. Now's the time to do it. Right? So just feel what that feels like for you at this moment, where you are. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I would imagine that for a lot of us, that's difficult, right? But there's also an enormous opportunity, right? There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of challenges. We're not really sure where things are going, wherever we are. However we're looking at the world at this moment, there's a lot of discord. There's a lot of strife. And so I want to just look at what that might mean to hold simcha, joy, at this moment. And I want to look at 2 different models. One model, I would say, is maybe the Adar model. The Adar model that says, in some sense, fake it till you make it. All right? What do I do on Purim? We put on masks. We have a Suda. We say, you know what? We know there's a lot of stuff going on, but right now, in this moment, we're going to be joyful. We're going to do things that make us feel and look like we're happy, right? It says in the Talmud as well, "Ein simcha ela beyain," right? There's no joy except in wine, and we'll come back to that statement in a second. But I think that's when we think of Purim, that's one of the things that we think about. We think about being joyful, drinking wine, having fun, fake it till you make it, all right? Now, I will say, as you might already be able to hear in my voice, I'm not really such a fake it till you make it kind of person, all right? But I do want to give space to that kind of joy for a moment, right? You might say that notion of simcha is what the deep meaning of the other word that we use to talk about Purim, which is v'nahafochu, right? Things will completely change. What are we doing when we're faking it till we make it, when we're being happy in times when we're not 100% sure that everything around us is happy? What we're doing is embodying a reality in which that happiness and that joy is possible and total. We are imagining, we're embodying a world that is utterly and completely different than our own. We're embodying, in some sense, the possibility of radical change. And that's the Adar Simcha. Do it, whether you quite feel it or not, right? Do those things that are going to make you happy. Show outward happiness. And in that way, embody the possibility of a change. I will say, as I said, though, I want to connect to another aspect of happiness that I think that we see very strongly in our text, which I might call Simchat HaRegel, the happiness that is associated with different holidays, with the pilgrimage holidays. And I will show what I mean. The root, sameach, simcha, comes up in all of the 5 books of Moses. It comes up the most in the book of Deuteronomy, in the book of Dvarim. It also, I will say, in the whole Bible, the 2 books that have the most usages of the word simcha are actually Dvarim and Kohelet, right? Just interesting. Isaiah also has a lot, but Isaiah has a lot of everything because it's a very long book. But Kohelet, right, is a book that is clearly striving for a kind of happiness, and Kohelet is trying to figure out what is going to make us happy. Is that really what we're supposed to be doing? If everything else is not working out, I'm going to look for pleasure, happiness in the sense of pleasure. But in Dvarim, we have this over and over and over again, and the words, the articulation of what it means to be happy. So I want to look for a moment and what it looks like, what that happiness, that Dvarim happiness, actually looks like. Sorry, 1 second. So it comes up several times. One of the most famous ones is, of course, when we're talking about coming to the temple and celebrating the holidays, the different holidays, and it is particularly about Chag HaSukkot, right? So you all, I'm sure, are familiar. V'samachta b'chagecha, ata uvanecha uvitecha, ve'avdecha ve'amadcha, ve'alevi asher, ve'hager, ve'yatom, ve'almana asher b'sha'arecha. Right? You will be joyful on your Chag, on your festival. In this case, we're talking about the Chag, the Sukkot holiday. You and your daughters and your sons and your daughters and your female slaves and your male slaves and the Levi and the stranger who live in your gates, the widow and the orphan. I think I read both of them, right? V'almana, it also says, asher b'kirbecha b'makom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha l'shaken shemo sham. So you are going to come and you're going to be joyful. You're going to be joyful with whom? With the people of your household, and you're going to be joyful with all of these other people, all of these marginalized peoples who are with you. Where are you doing this? במקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיך לשכן שמו שם. Right, you are going to do this in this place where God, your God, has decided to put God's presence. And we talked a little bit, we saw that a little bit in this week's Parsha, that creating this space in which God comes and is present. We also have, for instance, at the end, when we've gotten to the land of Israel, and you've brought all of the tithes and you've come to a place where you've had a good harvest, and you look up at all of the things that you have been able to dedicate to the temple because of your great harvest, or dedicate also some to the temple and some to the poor, and it says, right, you're going to come to this place, the temple that God has created, that you've made. והבאתם שמה עולותיכם ובכירכם ואת מעשרכם ואת תרומת ידיכם. You're going to bring all of these offerings. ואכלתם שם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ושמחתם בכל משלוח ידיכם, אתם ובתיכם אשר ברכך אדוני אלוהיך. So you there in the presence of God, you and your family shall eat and shall rejoice, be happy in everything that you have put your hand to. Okay? And there are many more verses throughout Deuteronomy that say, at this moment when I have accomplished a lot, where I have received many blessings, that I am now able to come to this temple to give offerings and be joyful with everyone around me. That's the expression of joy. So I want to unpack that Deuteronomic expression of joy and think what we might draw out of that. So first of all, it happens with other people, right? I'm going to get to who those other people, we'll come back to that in a second, but remember, it said with your sons and with your daughters, right? There's also another phrase when people are about to, when there's a call, when someone's going to go out to war, do they want to go out? The Kohen says, anyone who doesn't feel like they're ready to go out, you shouldn't go out. And one of the things it says is, go back, if you need to, go back to your house and be joyful with your wife, right? There's a sense in which we need to, simcha is something that specifically happens in relationship, together with other people. We also have Aharon, Moshe being very sameach to see Aharon when he meets him before the mission to go to Egypt. So simcha is something that we do with other people. The second element, which you heard when I said, V'hager v'yatom v'almana, right, the widow and the orphan, and all of these marginalized peoples, simcha happens in the act, of course, of giving, right? In the act of giving to others. In those moments when I realize that I have enough to be able to give to someone else, right? Purim also has these elements built into many of the mitzvot that are associated with it. It's also, as we said, about the temple. And I want to think about what that exactly means for a moment. And with this, I will relate it back to this week's Parsha. When I think about Terumah, it says, Kol ish asher yidavenu libo, everyone whose heart moves them should bring a Terumah. The project of building the temple is a communal project. People are bringing different parts. Different people, we know they're different in different accounts. You have different artisans who are giving different pieces, right? And so the simcha that is associated when I come to the temple, when I come to the tabernacle, what am I also doing? I'm witnessing this incredible communal act of giving and also this communal act of creation of beauty. So if we have simcha that exists in relationship with other people, in community. Simcha that happens with giving, right? This act of giving, and a simcha that resonates when we are part of a communal act of creation of beauty. And of course, the other thing that is happening at the temple, that is happening in the creation of the temple, as we said, Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, make for me a tabernacle and I will dwell within you, is that this is a place of meeting. It is also a place of meeting between people, and it is a place of meeting between people and God. It says, Shalosh pa'amim b'shana yira'eh kol zchorchat pnei Adonai. 3 times a year, everyone in the nation, in that case it says males, but let's not go there, right? Everyone will be seen. Will be seen in this place. You will both sort of, in some sense, see the face of God, and you will be seen by this face of God. Right? So the temple, after having appreciated this gratitude of what we have around you, being in connection with other people, this temple simcha is also the simcha of being seen and seeing. And when I think about the challenges that face us right now, so many of them have to be with our inability to really see other people, and with our anxiety often of not being able to be seen by other people. Right? We are in contact in digital ways without really looking at each other. We don't really necessarily talk well or see well across different divides. And what this kind of meeting, this kind of simcha that happens upon meeting, is challenging us to think about those moments and also to create those moments. That simple joy that happens when I look someone else in the eye. That simple joy that happens when I feel that I have been seen. That simple joy that happens when I'm able to give to someone else. That simple joy that we feel when we've been able to come together to create something beautiful. That's the Simchat HaRegel, that simcha that resonates all over the book of Dvarim, that simcha of creation and being seen. And I would say that that's a lot deeper, in my opinion, than the fake it till you make it simcha, right? That allows us these opportunities to connect, not just to create joy, that is what we're doing, but also to just be mindful of the joy that we are actually feeling at those moments. And so as we come into Adar, our blessing, the blessing that I think that we all need in this time of darkness, is to be able to connect to those moments of joy that come in connection and in giving and in seeing and in being seen. So I hope that we're all able to do that, and so that we can develop the strength that we need in order to think beyond and create new projects and be able to fix a lot of what is broken here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Shakach, thank you so much to Rabbi Cohen. We'll have a chance to learn with